Hello my dear friends and welcome back to another Star Wars news update. In today's video we're going to be talking about a new rumour for Ahsoka Tano. We're also going to be speaking about Cassian Andor and more. As always my dear Megalorians, before we dive into the news, please may I ask you to hit that big red subscribe button if you've not done so, and also be sure to give that bell a good old tickle to be alerted each and every time that I post new videos. So without much further ado and without any more jibber jabber, let's dive straight into it. So we're going to begin with Cassian Andor. A few of you have asked me to give you updates on this show, but we've not had too much. What I can tell you is that they've now finished filming in Scotland and they've moved to Winterfold in Surrey, which is right on my doorstep. These are new set leaks that have been posted by Bespin Bulletin. As you guys can see from these pictures, we have a lot of forestry. This has been a theme throughout all of the set leaks for Andor, and it makes some people think we might even see the forest moon of Endor at some point. While none of these pictures specifically look like the forest moon of Endor from Return of the Jedi, it is a possibility. So let me know what you guys think of this in the comments down below. So now my dear friends, we're going to move on and talk about the Ahsoka Tano series. I will say that what you're about to hear is just a rumour, but I did want to cover it. As we all know, Ahsoka Tano has been a beloved part of the Star Wars universe for nearly 13 years, but it was only last year that the Togruta Jedi was finally brought into live action. Rosario Dawson took on the iconic role for an episode of The Mandalorian Season 2, checking in on Ahsoka later in the timeline than we've ever seen her before, several years after the end of the Empire. This was essentially a backdoor pilot for the upcoming Ahsoka TV series for Disney+, which is going to explore what happens next as Anakin's former Padawan continues to hunt for Ezra and Grand Admiral Thrawn. But it now seems as though Star Wars Ahsoka is also going to take the opportunity to dive into the heroine's past as well. Insider Daniel Richman, who was the first person to leak the fact that there was going to be an Ahsoka Tano series, has shared a new rumour that claims that Lucasfilm is set on introducing a younger version of Ahsoka in flashbacks. As per Richman, the studio wants to reveal her early days, and while the scooper doesn't exactly say when this would take place, the most logical outlet is for Star Wars Ahsoka, her own self-titled show. Daniel Richman also doesn't specify exactly how young the version of Ahsoka is going to be, but presumably we're talking childhood here, seeing as her teenage years, the time she spent with her master Anakin, and her journey at the end of the Clone Wars have been well documented. It's possible then that Ahsoka will recap how she was taken from her native planet of Shili at the age of 3. Speaking of which guys, on my Patreon I am now covering Star Wars Planets, which is a mini-series where I take a look at various planets from the Star Wars universe. But going back to this piece of news, I don't usually cover wild rumours, but since Daniel Richman is the first one who scooped the upcoming spin-off series, he does deserve a chance to be highlighted for this rumour. It could turn out to be true and does seem quite likely. But what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts of this in the comments down below. So we're now going to talk about Kelly Marie Tran, who's recently spoken about her experiences on The Last Jedi. To be a bit more specific, we're going to look at what she said defending the Canto Bight scenes from episode 8. Now I understand that a lot of people really hated this sequence, and many fans believe that it took away from the overall plot of the story. But let's see what this article and what Kelly Marie Tran had to say. Love it or hate it, one thing everyone can agree on about Star Wars The Last Jedi is that it is one of the most divisive pieces of media in the franchise. But even more so than the movie itself, it sports one particular sequence that even the most steadfast defenders will sometimes give ground on. The part in question involves a certain casino planet, and it's one of the most hotly debated elements of the entire film. But it turns out that at least one person involved had a blast with it during production. That person is none other than Kelly Marie Tran, who played Rose Tico in the Sequel Trilogy. The collection of scenes in question are those that take place on Canto Bight, the gambling planet where Rose and Finn are tasked with finding the Master Codebreaker. It turns out that Tran not only enjoyed the scene from a storytelling point of view, but also in terms of the experience in bringing it to life with co-star John Boyega. In a recent interview, she openly admitted that she's partial to the whole segment due to her personal involvement, but it turns out her appreciation comes from more than just working on the film. So in her own words, she says, "I love that scene. I mean, I'm biased, so I guess I can say that." Tran said when speaking to Collider Ladies Night about the Canto Bight storyline, "I remember John and I were walking on set and being like, this is the biggest set we'll ever be on, and seeing all of the creatures moving and being part of this universe. These are the things I remember about being on set that day. It's understandable that someone would build a certain fondness for a scene like this when they're personally involved with it. A fondness she may have also established when she joined Disney's Raya and the Last Dragon. But she didn't stop there, as her love for the scene involves more than just the intoxicating aroma of nostalgia." Kelly Marie Tran stated that from a more social standpoint, she appreciates how the sequence draws attention to the divide between the ultra-privileged and those who have to struggle to survive, particularly how the former are rarely if ever even aware of the latter. That specific element seemed to hit close to home for her. She said that her parents are also from a war-torn country. They had to leave their home in order to escape it. She continued to say, to be able to exist in a community where I think people weren't aware of the struggles that other people went through, she really relates to that kind of scenario. Now, as a lot of proponents of The Last Jedi as well as haters of the film have stated, the whole Canto Bight sequence was a direct parallel to real-life politics. And in a big sense, Rian Johnson wrote that entire sequence to be reflective of the real world. But regardless of what you might have thought of that scene and The Last Jedi in general, it's good to see Kelly Marie Tran herself still appearing to be in high spirits after the backlash that she suffered. As this article concludes, there's a real strength in maintaining optimism through trying times. But let me know what you guys think of this in the comments down below. It seems to be a theme lately that the sequel actors are coming out and talking more and more about their experiences with Star Wars. A month ago we had Daisy Ridley talking about it, then the other day we had John Boyega, and now we have Kelly Marie Tran. And although she's been vocal in the past, this one is really telling about a positive experience she had on set. So now, my dear Mandalorians, we're going to finish on a more positive note, specifically looking at the 10 best scenes which demonstrate the rivalry between Obi-Wan and Darth Maul. We've spoken countless times on my channel about Darth Maul, even speculating that he might appear in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. Well, here are the 10 best scenes that demonstrate that. I very much enjoyed this article and I want to share it with you guys. The first one is Obi-Wan and Adi Gallia against Maul and Savage Opress. Maul and Obi-Wan only have a few lightsaber duels across their 30-year history with one another, but every time they do clash sabers, it makes for some amazing moments. After tracking the two Dathomirian Zabraks to Florum, Jedi Master Adi Gallia aided Obi-Wan in fighting the brothers, which cost her her life. It was a solid duel with a great harrowing moment in Gallia's death, with a group watched by Hondo Ohnaka's pirates. Next up we have Obi-Wan, who outmatches the brothers. Following this duel, Obi-Wan alongside Ohnaka and the pirates who stayed loyal to him are forced to retreat to their base, and when it came under attack, Kenobi was forced to engage with them. Obi-Wan truly showed his brilliance as a fighter in this scene as the brothers look poised to overpower the Jedi. Next we have Maul, who captures Obi-Wan and Satine. Despite Maul alongside Death Watch taking over Mandalore and imprisoning Duchess Satine, she managed to temporarily escape to get the message to the Jedi, calling for Obi-Wan's personal help. Obi-Wan of course ventured to the planet to help his love. Obi-Wan managed to free Satine and desperately attempted to escape, but was met with the Mandalorian super commandos and soon thereafter Darth Maul. The next great moment is Maul finding out that Obi-Wan is alive in Star Wars Rebels, and then we have of course the big Kenobi scream that is absolutely iconic. Next up we have the fact that Darth Maul returns, and this is jumping back to the Clone Wars. Maul's return was shrouded in doubt. He did get cut in half after all, but somehow Lucas, Filoni and co made it work. Next up we have Obi-Wan and Asajj Ventress against Maul and Savage. Maul killing Duchess Satine, which was a truly emotional and harrowing moment, one in which is going to be explored probably in flashbacks in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. Penultimately we have the classic Phantom Menace Duel of the Fates, and finally the episode Twin Sons of Rebels. This of course was the final showdown between the two characters, Obi-Wan finally being triumphant. But how would you guys rate these moments, and what is your favourite Obi-Wan versus Darth Maul duel? Let me know in the comments down below and tell me all of your thoughts of today's news update. If you guys enjoyed it, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and if you're feeling generous, please consider becoming a patron. The link is in the description, and I will see you all tomorrow. I'm Star Wars Meg, wishing you all a phenomenal rest of the day, no matter where you dwell in the galaxy. Have a good one.